Dave Barlow here with the gang from Sell for 1%. We're going to jump right into it. Our neighborhood of the week.
Neighborhood of the week is Powell, Ohio. Powell, present-day Powell, is located on land that was once a vast wilderness, sparsely populated by Native Americans, including the Huron, the Wyandot, Miami, Delaware, Ottawa, Shawnee, Mingo, and Erie people. So it was a very diverse area. It was not first settled until May of 1801. By 1813, yeah, I know, right? By 1813, records indicate that the settlement became known as Middlebury, which I didn't know any of this information, so I get a kick out of researching this stuff. It's a possible reference to the early settlers having come from Middlebury, Connecticut, is what it was known. Today, Powell maintains that reference to its heritage as Middlebury, with multiple streets and housing developments applying that name.
Huh.
Yeah,
Powell was that one.
Yeah, Middlebury. So when you're there, Dave, so if everybody knows, we actually have our office located in Powell, Ohio. So just a quick plug, we are very local. We love Powell. We know it like the back of our hand. So give us a call. Powell was actually finally incorporated as a municipality in 1947, later known as the Village of Powell. The population remained small until the 1980s, when we actually started having residential development expanding, in the northern Columbus metropolitan area finally reached Powell. In 20 years, the population grew 1,500%, from 378 people to over 6,000.
378.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, did I hear that Myrtle had a child? We're at 379? Yep, you heard right.
So I always thought it was funny that I think on our Dublin one, we didn't talk about them becoming a city until, was it the 80s or 90s?
Yeah.
Well, Powell didn't become a city until 2000. It was actually considered a city. It officially became one. And it now has a population of about 13,375 people. So it is crazy to see the population growth, especially after it finally became a city. Powell is just like Dublin. It's in a beautiful part of the city. It has lots of major parks, actually totaling 9 public parks, and some of them including Arbor Ridge, Oak Park, Beechwood Park, and then Village Green, which is home to the Powell Festival. There's a splash pad there. Lots of things for you to do with your kiddos and family. Probably not now, it's a bit cold, but once the spring comes around, there's a lot to do. A couple larger recreational areas, one of which I didn't know about, did a little bit of research on, is the Powell Pool. Powell did not have a recreational pool for the longest time. A lot of their residents were going over to Worthington, which is a bit of a drive. So in 1995, they built this large pool complex. Great place to take the kids. It's got a 160-foot water slide, lots of places for individual swimmers, but also the kids too. It's also home to some of the local swim clubs, including the Upper Arlington Swim Club and the Dublin Swim Club, and a couple racket clubs there as well. If you like getting wet, the biggest and best place to go over there is Zambezi Bay. I don't know if you guys have gone. I used to go when it was Wyandot Lake, but it's grown a bit. It's grown a bit since then, yeah. I love Zambezi Bay. It's a great place to go. Although I like to stay out of the wave pool because people are crazy.
Sorry, Mike, that was me.
Yeah, right. Was looking up some of the famous people who were born in Powell. Honestly, not a long list. Lots of other people born in and around, but some famous people who have lived in Powell. 2 big sports names here in Ohio. One is Thad Matta. Thad was with us from 2005 until, was it 18, 19?
Yeah.
Brought us to a couple Final Fours. Thad's the man. Loved watching him coach basketball. And then our very own Mike Vrabel. Vrabel spent a long stint here in Powell, Ohio, especially when he was an assistant at Ohio State. And we love Mike, and hopefully one day he'll come back to the Buckeyes to us.
Don't get me started.
Powell is a very wealthy part of town. It is actually in one of the wealthiest counties in the United States, in Delaware County.
Now, see, that surprised me. You said, what was it, ranked in the country?
35th wealthiest county in the
35th.
entire United States. So
Wow.
not state, like county, and we all know how many counties are in each state. So yeah, it's up there on that list, top 50 out of 35.
It's number one in Ohio
Yes.
and the 35th in all the country.
Yes.
That's pretty crazy. All right.
Yeah, it is pretty. It's a stat I was not expecting to see.
Yeah.
But it shows too when you're talking about the household median income is $157,000. So it's
Wow.
a very wealthy neighborhood. It's it's where a lot of I mean, you see Mike Rabel and Thad Mata, and two people we know are not short of cash, living in Powell, Ohio. The median list price was interesting to me because I know that I like to look at the median rather than sometimes the average. It's $411,000 is the median. It gives you a little bit better idea that it's not crazy astronomically expensive. You do find some properties that are below that $500,000 mark.
Can I just interject another
Please.
famous person that lives, actually, they don't live here yet. They're in the process of moving here.
Yeah.
There's a mansion being built on 315 just south of Home Road. And supposedly it's the second or third largest home in all of Central Ohio.
Oh, wow.
My wife had our grandson Weaver and was driving by that house headed somewhere. And Maria said to Weaver, who do you think lives there? And with a straight face, honest answer, billionaire Bruce Wayne. And so Batman lives in Delaware County.
All right, there it is. Another
That's
famous
cool.
person.
Great
That's cool.
answer. Billionaire Bruce Wayne.
I love the straight face part because I can see Weaver saying that. That kind of wraps it up just to get an idea of where Powell stands. It's beautiful. It backs to Dublin. And then, the one thing I left out is probably the most important part. For all of you who are looking for a good school district, Powell sits in Olentangy Schools. The Olentangy School District received the highest rating of excellence with distinction in 2020 on its report card from the Ohio Department of Education. Olentangy Schools is fantastic. If you check them out on Great Schools, they're a 9 out of 10, close to a 10. It's a fantastic school district. So if you are interested in that, it's not just Powell that you can live in. There are some other areas of that Olentangy School District. But as I had said before, we are very, very knowledgeable in the Powell area. I mean, neighborhood to neighborhood, streets, businesses, anything you can possibly think of. This team right here knows it very well. If you need anything from us, it'd be great if you could reach out. We can help you, no problem.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mike. Another great review of Powell, Ohio.